Hi, how's it going? There we go, that's better. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Forgotten City. My name is AmyChezzanator, and as you could see from the previous episode, the plot is beginning to thicken. So, as promised, I'm a couple of minutes late, apart from the course for me, but yeah, I'm here, ready to take on. Sleeves are rolled up, shit's going down. So, ready to collect some plaques and hopefully take on the god of the underworld. This is going to be one exciting episode. That's a little bit, that's better. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into it. I'm not actually sure if I've already got a couple of the plaques already, so what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to check my inventory first of all. And there's still a few other things I need to look at here. Okay. Mystery plaque, ligature plaque, okay. Pandora's Platina. What I'm going to do first of all is I've got some unfinished business here, so I'm going to mark off who I think I've got to investigate, which I've already done, so I'm not entirely sure why it's asking me to do it again, but obviously I'm not doing something right, or maybe I didn't need to do it at the time that I did it. So Domitius, Horatius, and who's the other one? Rufius. I've got to talk to now to find out if they've been harassing Virgil, because I want to basically tie up all the loose ends before I go for the final story, which will be getting the plaques onto the obelisk. But I also need to get Galerius elected for magistrate as well. Right, first of all, so I've been in here, I'm not quite sure what's this. This is something really important that I've missed here, but can't see how I would have missed it, because I've looked in here already. It's pointed to in here. Okay, I've looked in here already. Okay. Places before. I've looked at all three of these places, I just don't get. interesting. Okay. It's Rufus. Oh my god. Right. Persuade Rufus to stop threatening him. Okay. Right. Rufus. I don't know.
You again. No idea what you're talking about? Look, I haven't been at my best lately. I know that. It's the rheumatism. It starts with constant pain.
Can't even look at me, huh?
Joints. Then the pain starts to mess with your head. Makes you angry, mean.
That's no excuse to threaten someone.
That's not an excuse for how I acted. But it's the truth. But with the willow bark, I'm already starting to feel like myself again. I'll leave him alone from now on. It's not as if I was ever going to hurt him anyway. I was just lashing out. I'm going to go and clean up the graffiti. Just forget this ever happened. Will you?
Okay. Right. That's another thing done, okay. So, save again. Right. Let's go and sort this one out first of all.
You look well, my Sartorian.
Sometimes I stare at the great temple on the bluff. Welcome back. What demon or spirit told you about that? You went snooping in his place? That was risky. We're lucky you didn't cross any lines. Have you spoken to him about it? Really? How did you manage that? Poor fellow. I've heard that can really mess with a person's head. Well done for figuring that out. Really? That's promising. I'll keep an eye out for him. Nice to talk to you.
Right, okay, so that's another mission done. Okay. Now we need to get Galerius to run for Magistrate. That's the next one. Oh no, better speak to Livia as well about being in the underworld. Let's speak to Livia first. Let's go back down to her. Because I think this is the way I'm going to get the true ending, is by completing all of the...
Citizen.
Just as the ocean accepts the rivers of all the world, so this place accepts all the souls. But it does not notice the crowds that come. Say it. Speak its name. Then it is true. I was right. thought I saw it, but when the rest of them could not, I kept thinking I must have gone insane. I had to tell myself it was true over and over again, until I wasn't sure if I was deceiving myself. I must apologize if my words seem cryptic. I'd found comfort in reciting the Metamorphoses by our great poet Ovid. He gives such an uncanny description of this place. I cannot help but wonder if he himself came here. Would you like to hear it?
Sure.
I will do my best to remember the relevant verse. There is a downward path, gloomy with fatal yew trees. It leads through dumb silence to the infernal regions. The sluggish Styx exhales vapor, and by that way, the shadows of the newly dead descend, entombed with full rites, and the ghosts of those, at last, given proper burial. The wide, thorny waste is cold and pallid, and the newly arrived shades are ignorant of the road that leads to the Stygian city, where Black Dis has his cruel palace. As the ocean accepts the rivers of all the world, so this place accepts all the souls, and is never too small for any populace, nor notices the crowds that come. There the bloodless shadows wander without flesh or bone. Some crowd the forum, some the house of the ruler of the depths. Others follow their trades, imitating their previous lives, and still others incur punishment. I hope I have done it justice, and now we share a secret. It's as if you've lifted a great burden from my shoulders. Thank you, friend. I think I should rest.
Okay. Have I completed that one? Right, that's another lead result, so we'll save again. It's all sorted. Okay, next one. The Virtuous Man. Figure out to get Galerius elected magistrate. Okay.
All weapons are to be tossed into the chasm. Magistrate's orders. What is it, citizen? He's one of the better commanders I've ever had, that's for sure. Good stoic. Lives by Seneca's words. Treat your inferior as you would wish your superior to treat you. Can't ask for much more than that. Not that it's any of your business, but my loyalty is and always will be with Sentius.
Okay.
All right?
Figure out to get Galerius elected. Need to make it popular among the majority of the voters. Okay. It's not giving me the lead, is it? Okay.
Salve.
Let's see if we can talk to him.
Hello there, friend. May I say, that is a glorious bow you're carrying. Do you mind if I ask where you acquired it? Well, I'll take your word for it. But perhaps you'd be interested in selling it to me. I mean, it's not as if you have any use for it down here. Oh well, let me know if you change your mind. But for now, can I help you with something? Sentius, I suppose. Stability is always good for business. Yeah? And what's he gonna do for me? He's nothing. Certainly, for a few thousand denarii. Nothing illegal about it.
Okay.
Pleasure doing business. Can I help you with anything else? Very well. Another time.
Now, I'm not sure whether I actually needed to do that or not. I mean, don't know if I got. Oh, I've still got quite a lot. Okay. need to speak with Cynthia, don't I? Right, I need to find more men. Speak to them about Galerius. Ah, Georgius.
Hello again, my sartorial friend. What is on your mind?
Who you going?
Galerius. Did you know he saved the life of my young friend Fabia? The man is a hero.
Okay, perfect.
But of course. And in a city full of Romans you are asking me? Because I am Greek. Let me tell you something about Greeks and Romans. My name is Georgios, yes. But the Romans, they do not care. They hear me say Georgios and they think, ah, he must mean Georgius. Good Roman name. They do this all the time. They see us worshipping Zeus, they copy us but call him Jupiter. They take Hades and call him Pluto, Persephone, Proserpine. I am flattered that they copy our ideas, but why must they change the names? Do they want credit for making it all up? Do they want to forget where it came from?
It was Persephone.
At first, I pull my hair out. After a while, I give up, and I become Georgius the Roman. I accept the world is Roman now. Plus, I have no hair left to pull. But my point is this. If you want to know who stole an old Greek name, look no further than the sticky-fingered Romans. The plague you seek was pilfered from a collection of old Greek relics by none other than Dully. He cannot help it. Like a typical Roman, he likes shiny things, especially those that once belonged to my people. And besides, it makes him happy. So I say, let him keep it. I believe he still has it with him, in his cell, just opposite the Temple of Demeter.
Okay.
I hope that our paths cross again soon, my friend.
Right, another guy just walked past, so that was the, what's his name? Which way did he go then? Speak to him.
Welcome back. Well, Cynthia seems to know what he's doing. Nobody's broken the golden rule under his watch so far. My vote isn't for sale, if that's what you're asking. Nice to talk to you.
Okay, there's not changing his mind there. Why would I need those?
Salve.
There he is. That's who I need to speak to.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Sentius, I suppose. I'd have to be insane to vote for Malleolus after what he did to me. Galerius, the farmer, he's a good man, but I think he's more valuable on the farm than as magistrate. Well, neither of us have a couple of hours to stand around talking about theology, law, and collective punishment. Obliging, of course. Thanks. All right, friend.
Right. I need to go and speak with Cynthia if I'm able to get into the... I've pissed Cynthia off now, so I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get past him.
Are they?
Oh no, he's actually let me in, okay. There's Cynthia, let's speak with her. I know where your sister is.
Ugh, I wish Horatius would stop letting barbarians in here. What do you want? Oh, you heard about her disappearance, I take it. What? Is this some kind of crude commoner joke? No, surely not. Father, is this true?
I'm afraid it is.
I don't understand. Why? Why would you do such a thing?
Because she found a way out. And if you're wondering why I'm telling you this, it's because you're never going to remember any of it. All I have to do is commit a sin, and the day will begin again. Watch this. I'm going to kill you now.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
The statues! They're alive!
Oh shit, which way? Okay, so all he has to do is threaten to kill somebody. Right, okay. Right, back again. Okay. Right, let's go there again. Right, just, I know it's auto-save, but I'm just saving it anyway. Right, Galerius, hello.
Salve, friend. Mind telling me who you are and what you're doing with that bow on your back? Oh, sounds serious. I'm listening. Yulia? Oh no. All right, I can do that. Poor Virgil. Poor Rufius too, I guess. All right, got it. All right, let me see. Stop Fabia going in, but send the new arrival to the empty shrine. Understood. What? Are you... You're serious, aren't you? I doubt Domitius will let me talk to him, but I'll make sure he passes on the message. I'll go, but once I'm done,
This is how we're going to
I'll
get his
need you to tell me
popularity
how
up.
you know all of this.
Citizens, I have an announcement. Malleolus has withdrawn his candidacy from today's election. Unless any new challengers are nominated by nightfall, Sentius will be re-elected magistrate by default.
Actually, I'd like to nominate myself, if that's all right.
Of course, Galerius, that's your right. Citizens, the election will proceed.
Okay.
Salve again, friend. I went and did as you asked, and it worked. How is it possible that you've just arrived here and you already know everyone and exactly what's about to happen to them? You're toying with me, right? Wait, you're not kidding, are you? That's the only way you could have known. You're a bit like... Oh, Sisyphus. Sisyphus was a Greek king a long time ago. He was forced to forcing Tantala. Oh. Anyway, I don't know which god you managed to upset to get yourself into this position, friend, but you seem all right to me. So, I'll tell you what. I'll keep doing whatever I can. Oh, and I'm in the running for magistrate. Feeling kind of nervous, but I'm hoping it'll all be worth it when I order Dooley's release. I just hope I'll have the votes I need. Oh, that's kind of you to say. Now, I'm going to keep your secret. Although, it's not as if I'll remember this next time we talk anyway, right? Oh, and if our conversations ever start to annoy you, just tell me you're busy. I know when I'm not wanted.
Citizen.
May fortune smile on you, friend.
Okay, right. Oh. Temple, isn't it? I've got to go and see the old man now.
Ah, a visitor.
Hello.
Welcome, welcome. May I ask your name? It is best you do not know my name, for merely to speak of my existence in the city above could bring destruction on you all. Tell me, what brings you all the way down here? Ah, Kabash. I know this man. He came through here some weeks ago. I will tell you everything I know, but first, a request. I have been living down here alone for many years, with nobody to talk to but myself. The one thing I long for above all else before I die is a good philosophical argument with somebody astute. I'm hoping that person is you. Let us find out with this simple question. Have you deduced the name of the god responsible for the Golden Rule?
Yes.
Excellent. I see you are indeed quite astute. Very few come to that realization before their time in the sun is over. Now, will you join me in a friendly Socratic dialogue?
Go on then.
Wonderful. Then let me begin with a question. Would you say you know the difference between right and wrong? And to what extent? In every situation? You sound confident, but I must ask, has your confidence not waned upon finding yourself in this place? Knowing that your moral errors will result in the deaths of yourself and everyone around you, how confident are you now? Interesting. I'm reminded of something Socrates once said. To paraphrase, better to know that you know nothing than to know nothing and think that you know. It is because knowledgeable people have learned enough to know they know very little in the broader scheme of things. You see, out there in the world, being uncertain about right and wrong was acceptable because our mistakes rarely had consequences. So we would tell lies and bend rules and turn a blind eye and rationalize, and yet still find a way to think of ourselves as good people. But under the Golden Rule, morality matters. The slightest wrongdoing could result in a mass execution. So to navigate this maze, we would have to be certain about the difference between right and wrong. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely.
So let me ask you this. Is there one system of morality which is always perfectly correct, which you could follow in every situation and always do the right thing?
Is there one system of morality which is
Let me guess. Is it yours? Ah, so you think of all the thousands of competing morality systems that exist. All of them were wrong, except yours, which is always perfectly correct. And that's a credit to you. It is the mark of a civilized person to change their position when presented with a superior argument.
I've got to try and find the right...
My point is this. I don't think anyone alive truly knows any hard and fast rules about right and wrong. Surely you would agree there are circumstances where an exception may be made, such as where it is necessary for self-defense or to prevent a greater evil. For any rule, you can imagine there are countless situations in which that rule may be suspended, and those situations are impossible to codify. If there is one thing I have observed about rules, it is that virtuous people do not need them, and evil people will always find a way around them. And so we must accept our limitations, and the sad truth that no human society will ever achieve the utopia for which it strives. In mathematics, we would call it an asymptote, a line that can be approached but never reached. Because the only way to create a utopia is with the ever-present threat of force, such as the Golden Rule. This and no other is the root from which a tyrant springs when he first appears as a protector. And life under tyranny is no utopia at all. I'm glad to hear that. In any case, thank you for humoring an old man. I would be happy to answer your questions. Did we not discuss it at length already? You mean, how did I end up living alone in this cave with nothing but these relics of the past for company? It's a long story. I was a quarrelsome young man. At 19, I left Corinth for Rome to study rhetoric at one of her finest academies, so I could argue more forcefully. Back then, I used to enjoy verbally sparring with everyone I could, and I was good. One night I found myself in a tavern, in an argument with a drunken mercenary. It became heated, he drew a gladius, and I won the argument, but lost my life. I woke up on the banks of the Styx at a campfire opposite Karen. Of course, I tried to persuade her to let me return, but even with all my skill, I failed. I settled in, made friends, and learned what I could, quickly realizing our little community faced certain death under the Golden Rule. So I began looking for a place to hide underground. Fortunately, I found this place waiting for me. You see, I was not the first to take refuge here. I returned to my friends above, persuaded them to join me, and 12 of us descended for the last time, to live out our days hidden from Hades' tyranny. My generation was wiped out, turned to gold, many years ago. My friends and I were able to avoid the same fate by hiding down here. I think it's safest to assume that if I was to return, Hades would realize that his furies haven't finished the job, and he'd send them after me again.
Okay.
Living in darkness is not without its challenges. The first challenge is diet. Fortunately, I found that eating fresh fish provides most of the nutrients I need. And sometimes, when there are Greek people living up above, I surface at night and salvage the offerings they've left in the temple of Demeter. The greater challenge is the isolation. So I like to imagine arguments, where I argue both sides. But, like so many things in life, arguments are better with a partner.
Okay.
I'm afraid I am the only one left. There were 12 of us in the beginning, but one by one, my friends passed away. Some from malnutrition, others from madness and despair. It has been lonely. Before my unexpected visit from Kabash some weeks ago, I'd not seen another person in many, many years. I fear that if you were to utter my name in the city, even by mistake, that Hades would hear you and know I am still alive. They are one and the same. The Romans call him Pluto, but long before that, my people called him Hades.
Okay.
As you wish. You seek the plaque bearing the Egyptian inscription.
That's the one.
It is a cursed object, and I would be happy to give it to you if Kabash had not already taken it. I will tell you, but you may find him hostile. To prepare for your encounter, there are certain things you must know. Very few know this, but before the Romans came to this city, it was once entirely Greek. The architecture, the temples, and the people. When the Romans came, in typical fashion, they claimed it as their own, built over everything that could be built over, and renamed the things that could not. Thus, the shrine of Persephone became the shrine of Proserpina. And when they found an obelisk bearing the name Hades, they tore it off and replaced it with Pluto instead.
Okay.
And the city's dwindling Greek residents, witnessing this compulsive Roman conquest, decided to preserve what they could of their heritage. They gathered their art and valuables, secreted them away through the Temple of Demeter, and hid them here, out of reach of the Romans. However, there was one thing that always seemed out of place to me, and it is the very thing you seek. An even older plaque bearing an Egyptian inscription. We had no idea until years later, when the first of my friends began to die. As a result of their deaths, we began to dig catacombs branching off from this cavern to lay them to rest. We extended the tunnel so far that we accidentally discovered another, an even older tunnel, which somebody had gone to great lengths to keep hidden. Suddenly it made sense why there was an out-of-place Egyptian plaque among our people's possessions. You see, we proud Greeks had thought the Romans beasts for stealing and corrupting our heritage. But it turns out this game has been going on much longer than any of us imagined. I think it is best you head through the catacombs and follow Kabash's trail. There are certain things you must see for yourself. Take this key. You'll need it to open the gate.
Thank you.
Ha! If I did, would I be living like this?
Well,
I enjoyed our chat, but please, keep my presence
he might
here
know,
a secret.
but he can't really say much, can he? Okay. So I've spoken to the hermit philosopher. I'm just wondering who he could actually be. Oh, I'm still cold. Okay, catacombs, I gotta go. Huh. Oh, we've got to go through there. Okay, cool. So, can I get through?
Ah, you've returned.
Okay, can I just get straight down here? Okay. Wow. slightest. There'd be some of these bloody things here. Have some of that. Right, okay. Bloody statues again. By the time I saw it, it was a bit too late. Okay. Obelisks here as well with the hieroglyphs on. I can see it. Many shall suffer for the sins of the one. Let's do this again. This is so cool. This is really, really cool. I love this. Eerie, but very cool. Oh, there he is. Right, before we go and see him, I'm just going to have a look. Oh no, I can't get up there. Right, okay. I better save. Because I was warned that he could be quite hostile, so let's have a look. There he is.
Stop! Do not come any closer. Who are you? I am Kabash. And let me guess. Another Greek or Roman come to loot and plunder the resting place of my ancestors.
No, not at all.
Trousers, boots, curious here. No, I suppose you do not. Then what do you want? To what end? That is welcome news. You really are not Greek or Roman, are you? I was planning to return it myself, but for now, I must remain. Here, take it, and restore the honor of Osiris.
Thank you.
Now, as for the other plaque. Indeed, I have it right here. I stumbled across a collection of dusty curiosities while searching for a place to hide from the hungry children of Amit, and there it was. You may not. In fact, I am about to destroy it. Because it speaks a treacherous, blasphemous lie. I will tell you, but first, do you know what this place is? Indeed, and I see you know our history. This is the Duat. See what has become of it. I have been down here for weeks, piecing together its story, and here is what I have learned. As Egypt declined and the Greeks had their turn to flourish, their souls came here in great numbers, but instead of adopting our ways, they copied and corrupted them. When they found the obelisk bearing the name Osiris, the true god of the underworld, they desecrated it, removing his name and replacing it with Hades. Even the ferryman of the dead, known to my people long before as Kerti, they renamed to Keron. As if that desecration was not enough, they built over this place, using it as the foundation for their own underworld, so that ours was forgotten. My only solace is that the Greeks then suffered the same fate when the Romans rose to power, renaming Hades to Pluto, and the cycle began anew. It is inscribed with a script I do not recognize, but it is ancient, almost as if it is older than the plaque bearing Osiris's name. But if that is so, it would imply the gods of Egypt are mere imitations too, copied and corrupted from an ancient people who prospered even before us, and that my people did to them what the Greeks and Romans did to us. But this I cannot accept. I sense a deception. Perhaps it is the work of Set, the usurper, seeking to undermine Osiris once more. You will never know. This work of sacrilege must be destroyed, thrown into the black abyss below in Osiris's name. You are too late. It is done. It could not have gone any other way. It was Osiris's will. Now, the thing of evil you sought is gone. Why are you still here? I think if someone is to break the golden rule, it will not be me. For I try to live as I always have by the command of the goddess Ma'at. Do to the doer to make him do. As for the punishment that will come from it, I finally understand why it has long been said among my people that gold is the skin of the gods. I am from Rakotis, which you may know as Alexandria, the name of the city the Greeks built over it. I was a fisherman, like my father before me. Since the Romans had taken over from the Greeks, I took the opportunity to learn Latin and eventually traveled to Rome. When the fires broke out last year, I tried to help. I gathered terrified locals into my boat and led many of them to safety farther along the Tiber. On my 7th trip, a passenger demanded I wait for his brother. But we were full to almost sinking, and smoke was all around us. I told him his brother would have to save himself, and he tried to bribe me by placing a coin into my hand. When I refused, he drew a dagger and thrust it between my ribs. I awoke on the banks of the river to a stranger wearing a ram headdress. He said his name was Kirti, and at the time, I simply thought him odd. It did not dawn on me until much later that he was the Kirti, the ram-headed ferryman described in the Book of the Dead. I do not know. What could possibly lie beneath the underworld? Perhaps it is infinite darkness. Perhaps it is the lair of Amit, the devourer of souls. All I know is, it would be unwise to venture down there. Most unwise. This is where I belong, as caretaker of the memories of my people. If our ways are to be remembered, it falls to me.
Okay.
Good. Be gone from this place. Wait. You are planning to go down there. I see it in your eyes. You would plunge into the depths of the Duat with no way back up. Madness. We shall see.
This is getting spooky. As if it wasn't to begin with, but yes. Sumerian, okay. Interesting. Okay. There's quite a few of these statues, okay. There's going to be more of these statues down there, I just know it. I just know it. Stranger, heed the final words of Nankazu. Bear witness to our aftermath and lament us. We did our best to live as the gods commanded. We planted and harvested together. We shared bread and beer. We accepted newcomers with open arms as a family. But with each newcomer, the bonds of our family strained, and soon we were as strangers to each other. And when those bonds were finally broken, my brothers and sisters planted only for themselves and ate and drank alone. And it was there, in the empty space between us, that sin took root. Nurgle's sentinels have awoken and clamour at our barricades. Learn from our mistakes, I would imagine that would say. I can take that. Cool. Right, I'll take that. Thank you. Broken set of Sumerian pottery. While other ancient people made pottery by hand, the Sumerians were the first to develop the turning wheel, which allowed them to mass produce it. Okay. Barricades there. What's in here? Anything? More pottery? My word. Let's put the background again. Oh, there's another trap there. Another springboard thing. Oh, oh, hello. Don't know if I should really step on those just in case. Ah, okay. Oh, hello. Right, okay. More barricades. I can't go any further there. Whatever it is going to be up this way.
When I told you that you would not find a way back up, that was not a prediction. That was a promise. You will die here. I disagree. I warned you against coming down here, against perpetuating this sacrilege. But you persisted. You have undermined and dishonored the true god of the underworld. How did you think this would end, if not with bloodshed? Very well, I will listen. But if I sense deception, or if you further insult my gods, I will carry out my threat.
How did he get down here?
So tell me, why should I let you live after you salvaged this instrument of blasphemy? Why? To what end? But that makes no sense. How would it honor him to place false names on his sacred Tekenhu? Now that I think about it, my people would sometimes call Osiris the god of many names. Perhaps it is so. But the underworld of my people is so different to this one, and so unlike the way it was described by our priests. Many of my ancestors endured great hardship to live good lives so that we may descend to the Duat in death and be judged accordingly. We prepare to have our hearts weighed on Anubis' scales and to swear ourselves innocent of sin before the 42 assessors of Ma'at. And yet, I arrive here to find the Book of the Dead contained only a seed of truth. And now, I ask myself, did our priests steal and embellish the stories of an older people and feed us lies all our lives simply to trick us into obedience? I am not sure I follow. Speak plainly.
God, what do I say to him? I don't want to get shot. He's scaring me.
Now you insult me
shit.
and all of my ancestors. You have sealed your own fate. Good. I welcome it. You see, the philosopher told me that each time it breaks, Osiris bellows with rage, and his voice shakes the very foundations of the earth. I can only hope one more tremor will lay waste to this fragile place once and for all, and you along with it.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Right, okay. This guy's gonna be a bit of a tough nut to crack, isn't he?
I am not... Perhaps there is some truth in that. What is your point? You are persuasive. Very well. I will let you live, and you may do what you will with that plaque. I will remain here for a while, and attempt to learn what I can about the foundations of my people's beliefs. Go.
Wait, did I trigger a trap?
Good to see you again, friend. Did you find what you need? I enjoyed our chat, but please, keep my presence here a secret, yes?
Right, okay. Hello? Can I get past? Thank you.
Hello? Isn't the great temple majestic?
Hello. Have we met before? Do you like it? It's shiny, innit? It makes me happy just looking at it. But if I gave it to you, then I wouldn't have it anymore, and I'd be sad. But it's mine, and I really like it. I want to keep it. Well, if you get me out of here, then I wouldn't need it anymore because I'd already be happy.
So we need to get Galerius.
Then you could have it, and you'd be happy too. Like, Galerius? He's nice. I like Galerius. He made me a doll and everything. Yeah, Galerius will let me out. Then you can have my plaque and everyone will be happy. Bye bye.
A new face, Ave, and may Vesta watch over you. I'm Equitia. To what do I owe the pleasure of this visit?
I beg your pardon? Oh my, that is quite a lot to take in. You'll have to give me a moment.
Let's see. If that is indeed the case, I suppose we'd better figure out what to do about it, hadn't we? We don't have much to go on, except the old stories. I remember 4 in particular about heroes in the underworld. Hercules, the demigod and son of Jupiter. Orpheus, a Thracian poet. Sisyphus, a king of Ephyra, and Aeneas, a Trojan hero. Hercules was able to leave the underworld because he cowed its god with his strength. Sisyphus and Orpheus both relied on their... And finally, so it seems... May Fortuna guide you.
Okay. What's the status of the election?
Ave again. Did you... It must be completed by dusk. Just the same, it'll be between Sentius, the incumbent, and Galerius, the challenger. Why do you ask? Certainly. Okay. See you again soon, I hope.
Okay. Need to get Galerius to know popularity, so...
Sometimes I stare at the great temple. Ah, a new face. I hear we have you. Galerius, definitely. He put an end to the notes and graffiti I've been receiving.
Okay.
All right. Nice to talk.
Okay. So he's writing Galerius about...
Greetings, I'm Georgius. Galerius, did you know he saved the life of my young friend Fabia? The man is a hero.
Okay, perfect.
But of course, I hope that our
Right, where's he gone? To me. I wonder if they're down by the pub. Speak to him, do we? Let's see. Is anybody here? Yep, they're all having a drink here, right, okay. Rufus.
Name's Rufus. Better watch your step. Galerius. Sorted out my rheumatism.
Okay.
For the first time in a long time, I'm not in constant pain. Good man.
Perfect. Okay.
Fine. See you around.
Okay. This is...
Wonder how much one of these statues is worth on the outside. Hello there, friend. Well, I'll take your word.
It's not for sale.
Oh well, let me know. Percentage, I suppose. Stability is always good for business. Yeah? And what's he gonna do for me? Certainly. Very well. Another time.
Right. I'm not giving him any more of my bloody money, let's put it that way. Where's Horatius? That's Rufus.
Shalom, friend.
Shalom.
Galerius. He saved my life. I have a feeling he can do a lot more if given the chance.
Okay.
All right, friend. Thanks for the chat.
Who else have we got? I think that's going to be enough for all of them. Who's that? Is that the priestess? Oh no, it's Yulia. I don't think I really need to speak to her now. I think I've spoken to pretty much all of them that I need to speak to. I'm not going to do the plucks just yet. Have I got all of them? I think I have. Oh no, I haven't. I've got the Greek one anyways. I need the Greek one anyway, so that's fine. Okay. He's voting, he's voting. Okay, so it should be then that the election should be underway shortly. I think I need to go in there again. That's the baths. It's just a case of can I get the election to go underway soon? Who else do I need to speak to? Right, okay. Let's see if we can get Equitia to do the election now. Get Galerius voted in.
Ave again. Did you find what you need?
Yes. Where's the status of the election?
It must be completed by dusk. It'll be, but why do you ask? As I said, I'm planning to hold it before dusk. But I suppose I could hold it sooner, if there's a good reason. Yes. I have overheard some rather unpleasant arguments. The last thing we need here is additional conflict. Very well. I'll get things started right away.
Okay, so hopefully we're going to get you out of here, mate. I just hope there's enough votes for...
Citizens, we have a
quorate body of voters gathered here to elect the city's magistrate. The candidates are Sextus Sentius Imperiosus and late nominee Gallus Galerius Helver. Marcus Malleolus Gurges withdrew his candidacy earlier today. As agreed, we shall dispense with ballots and candidates will abstain from voting. Let's make this quick. As I say your name, call your vote. I'll start with you, Horatius.
Sentius, of course.
Okay.
Georgius.
Galerius.
He saved the life of my dear friend Fabia.
Dacius.
Sentius.
Virgil.
The man who put a stop to the threats I've been receiving.
Galerius.
Galerius.
So 2 Sentius.
Ulpius.
Galerius, the man who saved my life.
Rufius.
The man who treated my rheumatism. Galerius.
Citizens.
Yes.
You have made your decision. Your new magistrate is Gallus Galerius Helver.
What?
It has been decided. Magistrate Galerius, would you like to make a brief address?
I just want to say, this isn't something I ever wanted. Now that you put your trust in me, I'm going to do everything I can not to let you down. I'll need some time to put together a list of the changes I want to make around here. But I promise you, there will be changes. My first order is that Dooley is to be freed. Horatius, release him from his cell immediately. Please. Wait, do I need to say please? I suppose not. That's it. You can all get on with your day. Nothing else to see here. Move along.
Yeah, Galerius. Yay.
Blood Galerius won.
By bribing
He deserved it.
Outrageous! Where was my bribe?
Harvey.
What is the meaning of this?
If I find out you had something to do with that farmer being elected,
Harvey.
I could have just gone the other way, but hey ho. I like taking a scenic route.
Then I want you to go home and rest. I'll speak with you soon, Dooley.
Hello? I'm Dooley. Magistrate Galerius said I should thank the newcomer. Are you the newcomer? Oh, it is you. Then, thank you. You're a big helper. I was locked up, but they let me out again. I'm so happy. You can have my shiny plaque if you want, and maybe you can help me find my treasure. My friend Hannibal used to look after me, and he said he always would, but then he died. But before that, he told me if anything ever happened to him, I had to find something very precious. He gave me a key to the cisterns and told me to keep it safe. He said there's something very precious way up high. Please help me find it. Please. I had to keep it a secret until I found someone I could trust. Oh, thank you. Here's the key.
Thank you. Alright.
Hope you find it. In the cisterns, way up high, Hannibal said. Oh, look over there. Something shining. Is it treasure? Maybe it is treasure. I can see it for myself. It's so pretty. And it's just lying out here in the open. Maybe nobody wants it anymore. Maybe no one will mind if I Just take it.
Oh, I need to get the Greek plaque, don't I? So you got it in this. Oh yeah, there it is.
It gladdens my heart that Galerius set poor Dooley free. I will cherish this moment.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
What happened there? What the hell? Who sinned? Who sinned? I wonder if Julie took stole something, so I need to try and stop him. So I've got to go through all that again now. Oh my word. Okay. Right, Galerius. Hi.
Salve, friend. Mind telling... Oh, sounds serious. I'm listening. Yulia. Poor Virgil. All right, let me see. What? I'll go, but once I'm done, I'll need you to tell me how you know all of this.
Right, so what I'm going to have to do now then is I'm going to have to let Galerius do his thing. Once he's done that,
Ixion turns.
I need to get him what? Oh my god, elected as magistrate, and then I need to speak with Dooley and try and get him to not take anything. There's Scintilla. Right. We're not going to go anywhere near her. Okay. Oh. Bit of lagginess with the FPS there. Okay. So that's done.
Be careful who you trust.
Where's she going? Now what do I do? I mean, do I need to free Sentinel? I suppose I do, but the thing is, if I do that, oh, hello Sam, thank you so much for the host. How's it going? Right.
You? Who are you? Do you know you're here? Wait, what? God, am I going out of my mind? Are you going to let me go or not? What? No! You can't just leave me here! How can you be so heartless? It's no use. You'll never persuade him of anything.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
telling
work.
you, he's a monster. Please. You're making a mistake.
Quiet day, eh? Where am I going here? Oh, go that way, don't I? Losing my bloody bearings. Right, let's go through here. Up we go again. What time are you at work till today? Right, what else do I need to do? Normal 9:30, okay. Okay. Return all 4 plaques to the obelisk. Right, okay, let's do that. Here we go. Just gonna save again. Okay, here we go. Game going well. We're just going into the Great Temple now. Okay. I don't know what I'm about to face it. But I'm about to face here, but Pluto, Father of Riches, grant me an audience. Oh, I see. I have to speak all the different ones. Okay. Okay, so that's the Egyptian one. Okay, right. So that's Egyptian. Hades, wasn't it, the last one? What the hell? What the hell? What the hell?
And here you are. Allow me to introduce myself. As you have already gathered, I've been known by many names. Nergal to the Cimmerians, Osiris to the Egyptians, Hades to the Greeks, and Pluto to the Romans.
Oh my god.
But the one constant through it all has been my title, God of the Underworld. And I've been watching you with curiosity, mortal, ever since your arrival. You're unlike the others, aren't you? And what is more, you carry a weapon that was never intended for mortals to wield, and you do it so brazenly. But there will be time for your reckoning later. First, as a reward for undoing the desecration of my obelisk, I will allow you to satisfy your curiosity. Ask what you will. It has come to be known simply as the Underworld, and it exists because of a wager I made long ago. That is a long story, one that began over 3,000 years ago and continues to this day. You see, long ago my kin and I set out from our home on Elysium to search for other forms of life among the stars. We discovered your planet and witnessed your kind evolving from primates into something lawless and barbaric. You all but destroyed yourselves, your 2 short lives being extinguished by violence and ignorance and disease. Yet Proserpina saw raw potential in you, and persuaded the rest of us it would be squandered without our intervention and stewardship. So we revealed ourselves to your people in a place called Sumer. We offered guidance in agriculture, toolcraft, and law, and you called us gods. For a time you flourished, but soon you were too many for us to oversee. And as you spread from that cradle of civilization, we saw something disturbing. We had sown the seeds of dependency and confusion, and soon you returned to your old ways of violence and ignorance, this time in our name. My kin had seen enough, and gave up on your kind, condemning you as barbaric and chaotic, scarcely more than animals. We began preparations to return to Elysium, our home world, a utopia unspoilt by conflict and unimaginable in its beauty. But my Proserpina could not bear to abandon your kind without guidance, and knowing it would force the rest of us to leave her behind, she made an extraordinary sacrifice. She gave up her immortality to descend permanently to the ranks of humankind. And so she began her inescapable trajectory toward death. Horrified, I acted swiftly. I placed her in suspended animation, in a deep frozen sleep, to prevent age and sickness from claiming her. And then I pleaded with Proserpina's father, who the Romans called Jupiter, to bring her with us to Elysium. It was and is my hope that once there, we might one day learn to undo what she has done to herself. But he refused. I did everything I could to persuade him, but he would not relent. He would rigidly uphold his final pronouncement. Humans were unworthy of ascension to Elysium, and no exceptions would be made. But seeing that I was aggrieved, he proposed a wager, the terms of which were as follows. If even one human city could prove itself capable of living without sin for a single year, then Proserpina and all of humanity would be permitted to join us in Elysium. My part would be to remain behind, the last of my kind, to watch over you, without interfering, and to sit in silent judgment. And so my reward has been to languish here, enduring a 3,000-year winter, waiting for the day your kind proves itself worthy of her faith in me, so that I might take her with me to Elysium and unthaw my goddess of springtime. And here I am, after all this time, still waiting.
Who are your kin?
There were also gods who, like me, have been known by many names, but perhaps you knew them by their Roman names. Our leader, Jupiter, as well as Neptune, Saturn, Juno, Minerva, Mars, Venus, Apollo, Diana, Vulcan, Vesta, Ceres, and of course, my beloved Persephone. As the first wave of your kind arrived from Sumer, I had them build a city in their own fashion, so that they might be comfortable and recreate their lives here. I had them build the entrance as a vertical shaft leading to baths, to cleanse them of the sins of their former lives, and to prevent escape. I watched wave after wave of Sumerians arrive, and as their civilization declined over the centuries, they were replaced by Egyptians. Of course, believing themselves to be the superior civilization, the Egyptians promptly built over what had been built before, and made all the same mistakes. After another 1,000 years, the Greeks began to arrive, and then the Romans, and they all did the same thing. They built upon the underworlds of their predecessors, renamed their gods, and ensured their foundations were forgotten. To ensure the wager was fair, it was important that my subjects were chosen at random. To this end, I had my servant distribute 1,000 tokens fashioned from silver, a rare element at the time, across all of Sumer. Whoever died while in possession of one of them would be located by my servant and ferried to this place, with no memory of how they arrived. As the tokens were discovered, they were traded, smelted, and fashioned into trinkets, and eventually coins, spreading to Egypt like seeds on the wind. Later, when they spread to Greece, they would come to be known as Charon's Obol, or as coins for the ferryman. Some placed coins in the mouths of their dead, hoping they would awaken here, though they had no way of knowing which coins were fashioned from the original tokens. In fact, almost all of the tokens are accounted for, only 2 remain. And so after this wave destroys itself, as it is destined to do, your kind will have squandered the last of its potential to ascend beyond this rock, and Persephone's along with it. It is a regrettable story. One of the first men who came to this place was a king of Sumer, and a troublemaker. To be rid of him, I returned him to his people, on the condition that my servant erased his memories of this place. But the erasure did not take completely, and he told stories of this place as if describing memories of a dream. His tales were committed to writing, which came to be known as the Epic of Gilgamesh, and his words were twisted and distorted over generations. Later, the Egyptians would adapt Sumer's stories of the underworld, making them wildly intricate and labyrinthine. Their Book of the Dead and Book of Gates bore less and less resemblance to this place, in their priests' pursuit of profit. Then, when the Greeks began to arrive, they proved far more cunning, and in a series of incidents that will not be repeated, 5 of them escaped. A warrior named Heracles, 2 kings named Sisyphus and Theseus, a poet named Orpheus, and a Trojan named Aeneas. They each told embellished tales of this place, how to get here, and how to escape. And so from Sumer to Egypt, Greece to Rome, your kind has always told each other stories about this place, though each story contained only a seed of truth. Of course, my story is many thousands of years long. You will need to be more specific. What do you wish to know? It is a matter of perspective. God is a label I was given by you mortals, not one I made myself. Your ancestors revered me because to them, my knowledge and technology made me incomprehensibly powerful, just as you might seem so to an insect. But despite all that, there are rules even I must obey. My kin and I all adopted this form long ago, so that we might better understand and communicate with your kind. In time, we grew fond of the sensory delights it affords. Desire, joy, ecstasy, even rage and sorrow, while an acquired taste can be addictive. This is my beloved. Like me, she has been known by many names. Ereshkigal to the Sumerians, Isis to the Egyptians, Persephone to the Greeks, and Proserpina to the Romans. Or perhaps you might know her as the goddess of springtime, the cycle of life and renewal. Your gaze lingers too long. That is my servant. You would have met by the river, though she wears many faces and goes by many names. Kumutabal to the Sumerians, Kirti to the Egyptians, Charon to the Greeks, and Charon to the Romans. Her role is to ferry souls between the mortal world and this one, and to make their transition as seamless as possible. For that, she earned herself the infamous, if erroneous, moniker, the Ferryman. You will talk more later. For now, ask your questions. No. Long ago I swore to Proserpina that I would remain in this form for as long as we remained among your kind. I must honor that.
Okay.
As you wish. That is merely the name your people have given to it, but yes, it is my doing. That is a story dating back to the very first wave. After the Sumerians finished building their city, a self-declared ruler threw a banquet to celebrate. Now this man was unmarried, and many women were vying to become his wife. Prestigious position, power, and influence in a new world. Of all the women, two were particularly ambitious. Both were beautiful, and both arrived at the banquet wearing eye-catching dresses and painted faces, their hair woven in elaborate fashion. The first woman, recognizing that she would require an advantage to win the ruler's affection, draped herself in jewelry, ornate necklaces, bracelets, and rings fashioned from gold. Seeing this ostentatious display, the second woman grew envious, for she had no such jewelry at her disposal. She prayed aloud to any gods that would listen to cover her in gold. And when her prayer went unanswered, she took matters into her own hands. While the others indulged at the banquet, the second woman summoned the first for a discussion in a quiet place. She checked that nobody was watching, and pushed her rival from the top of the ziggurat, where she broke her neck on the rocks below. But I was watching, and I decided to answer her prayer. I took the golden bow left behind by Diana, and I shot that woman in the heart, covering her from head to toe in a layer of molten gold. And I left her to stand there, that she might serve as a grim reminder of what befalls those who sin in my domain. But that was not enough, for the entire city was tainted by her sin, and the wager could no longer be won. So I had no choice but to wipe the slate clean. I gilded them all, to make way for a new wave, and began the wager again. And to this day, each of them, and all who came after, line the halls of this city, inanimate but conscious, suspended in time with only their sight and hearing preserved, so they may bear witness to and lament the folly of your kind for eternity, the silent golden sentinels.
Bloody hell.
I've always considered that the cornerstone of morality is the ability to determine right from wrong on one's own. No attempt to lay out rules like your Code of Hammurabi or your 12 Tables of the Roman Republic can ever cover all possible scenarios. This should come as no surprise to you, since the core principle has been expressed in many forms by many of your civilizations. The Egyptians made a rudimentary attempt with do to the doer to make him do. The Greeks refined it with avoid doing what you would blame others for doing. The Roman Stoics added, treat your inferior as you would wish your superior to treat you. Even the so-called cultists hiding among you often say, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It is the simplest of concepts, and each one of you is born with the faculties required to apply it to any situation. Yet none of the peoples who expressed this rule were able to uphold it. Curious, is it not? For you, perhaps. I give your kind a second chance at life, as well as ample warning about my law. And when you disobey, and you always disobey, you force my hand, bringing terrible suffering upon yourselves. And so you ask if I am the one destroying your lives. And I say, no. You destroy yourselves. I am merely the means by which you do it. When my kin departed, they left behind many relics which I inherited. Consolation prize of sorts. The golden bow originally belonged to one of my kin, who the Romans called Diana. As my collection of golden statues grew, I chose the most ferocious among them, and equipped them each with a duplicate of her bow, and tasked them with hunting down the Forsaken at my behest. They became known simply as Furies. I'm able to commune with all of the statues in the city. Their ears are my ears, and their eyes are my eyes. If she was still conscious, I suppose she could, but she's not. Why do you ask? Then what an odd question. Do you plan to speak in sweeping generalizations, or are you going to give me an example? I've seen no such thing, but in any case, taking one's own life is a self-directed act. It is not one that is done to others, however they may be affected by it. Therefore, it cannot be said that one who commits suicide has done anything unto others. Now tell me, what other sins do you believe I have overlooked? The merchant, how is that inconsistent with the rule I've outlined? I disagree. Having watched this merchant, that is precisely what he would expect from others, and he would be quite capable of paying the price anyway. Applying this rule always requires speculation to some degree. It requires us to ask what another person would want if they found themselves in another situation. Not if we're wise enough to know the mind of man. Supposing you're right, and my law has been broken, and I should turn you all to gold immediately. Is that what you want? Now tell me, what other sins do you believe I have overlooked? You speak of the moneylender. How is that inconsistent with the rule? And he would never have signed a contract pledging his labor for 30 years. All he did was enforce the terms of a contract signed voluntarily by others. Ignoring your irritating sense of moral superiority, this is interesting. I'm curious, how do people escape poverty? I see. And how long might it take such a person to repay their debt? I fail to see how your system of loans is significantly different to a debt bondsman signing
That's
over his
true.
labor for 30 years.
But it's not the same thing. Because of the way that they were treated.
Supposing you're right, then my law has been broken, and I should turn you all to gold immediately. Is that what you want?
No. I need to go through the other options.
Now tell me, what other sins? The midwife and the palace, yes. How is that inconsistent with the rule? The rule is do unto others, meaning other people. Those statues are something else now. Bloodless shadows, mere shapes of their former selves. They are forsaken. What happens to them is no concern of mine. Applying this rule always requires us to interpret the meaning of the words. The literal interpretation helps to minimize the ambiguities of your primitive language. Supposing you're right, and my law has been broken. Now tell me. Abduction? You mean the magistrate imprisoning his daughter in the cistern, I take it. He did so because she sought to escape. A sin I take particularly seriously. Better that he stops her from escaping, albeit brutishly, than I have to wipe out this entire city to punish her. Wouldn't you agree? Supposing you're...
Right, okay.
Now tell me. Do you honestly think you could do better? I should strike you down for that.
Oh my god.
Now, did you have any other questions before your reckoning? Very well. Good. Then now it is time for your reckoning. Only, it seems, something is wrong. It has long been within my power to see into the hearts of mortals and weigh their deeds in life. But when I peer into you, I see only a blank slate, as if you did not exist until you appeared in this city. How is this possible? Charon, where did you find this one?
I do not remember ferrying you. How did you come here? If that is true, then I sense the intervention of someone powerful.
How did you come to be in this time, mortal? Who brought you here?
We cannot know.
Oh my god.
I do not know. My kin departed long ago, and Proserpine slumbered for 3,000 years. Tread lightly, mortal. Enough of this. It seems I will need to put your reckoning on hold for now. But answer this. Why have you come here? What is it you seek? Your hubris is amusing, so I will allow you to make your case. But I warn you, if you anger me or waste my time with lies or wrong-headed arguments, you face death here. So, tell me, why should I put an end to the so-called Golden Rule?
Oh my god.
How so? And be specific. You have made a grave allegation, and I expect you to back it up. True. I have witnessed him doing it. He is a volatile and confused fellow, that one. His cruelty does seem to grow greater by the day. Pathetic. You will need to do a lot better than that.
Rude.
That is a very serious accusation, mortal. What sin have I committed? What evidence do you have to support it? These people were all dead when my servant found them. I gave them a second chance at life. Would you prefer to have simply ceased to exist? Accordingly, I reject your argument. Every one of those people was guilty of failing to ensure their peers lived virtuously. They failed collectively, and so they were punished collectively. The Romans understand this, as did the Greeks before them. Ah, but I'm a god, and you are a mortal. Why would you expect me to treat you as I treat my own kind? You are not a peer. You are not a respected equal. Let me ask you this. Do you treat insects as you wish to be treated? Do you care for their well-being as you would your fellow man? Do you ensure they have food and shelter and protection from predators? Do you give them rights? Of course not, because that would be absurd, just as it would be absurd for me to treat your kind as equals. Where to begin? Our lifespans exceed yours by thousands of years, in which time we accumulate vast wisdom and a mastery of technology you cannot begin to imagine. Because that is the source of our power over you. You could say that. My kin have no superiors. That is true. Go on. Make your point, mortal. Let me ponder that for a moment. If you are right, then it would follow that all this time I have been in the wrong. But no, the very thought of it grieves me. How can I accept your argument when doing so would make me a tyrant and a monster? Wait, what? What are you saying? You have spoken eloquently. And yet, if what you say is true, it follows that my wager was fatally flawed from the beginning. But that would mean Jupiter, Persephon's father, who knew more about you than anyone, proposed a wager I could never win. Why would he do that? A mistake? But he is the best and greatest of us. Your words sting me, mortal. But perhaps it is what I deserve. As difficult as this is to admit, I have suspected as much for a long time now. And I cannot deny it any longer. I've been so fixated on taking my beloved to Elysium that every time one of you sinned, it wore away my hope of being with her again. In time, I began to despise your kind for making her believe that you could ever be better than you are. But my rage was not born of malice. Quite the opposite. Everything I have done, I did because I loved her. Who knew this empathy of yours, which you celebrate so much, could have such a dark underside? This has gone on too long. It is time for me to let go of this form, of her, of all of you. But know this, if I abandon the way Jen Lee for Elysium, neither she nor your kind may ever ascend. Very well. I will have Charon make arrangements to ferry the others. But as for you, be aware you will be separated from the rest. Once this exodus begins, the events that brought you to this moment will never have taken place, and you will have created a paradox. What will become of you is difficult to predict, but that is the risk you have taken by interfering in the natural flow of time. Now, are you ready?
So I might not ever return to my time.
Farewell, mortal.
Farewell. Let's see if I do return back. Oh my god, I've gone back to my own time. Ow!
Oh! Hi there. Gave me a bit of a fright. Thought I was in here alone. I'm Al. Well, here I am. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. Oh, did that lady in the forest send you in here after me? I guess I lost track of time, learning about the history of this place, and it is extraordinary. I'm fairly certain you and I are the first people to set foot in this city for about 2,000 years. Fortunately for us, the last person in here was a Roman man named Galerius, who inscribed an account into a tablet. Apparently, there was a community of 20-something people trapped in here, and living in fear of a curse they called the Golden Rule. They believed that if even one person sinned, an unknown god would cast them all into gold, like the 1,000 people who'd lived here before them. Then, one day, just as Galerius had finished praying for a good harvest at the shrine of Proserpina, an oracle appeared and told him how to solve the ills of the city, like saving the life of a dying woman, preventing the suicide of a man in debt bondage, freeing a falsely accused prisoner, foiling an assassination attempt, and so on. Meanwhile, the oracle walked up to the temple of the mysterious god, this one right here, and demanded an audience. And the doors just opened up to her. Nobody knows what went on in there, but Galerius wrote the oracle must have been more persuasive than Odysseus, because the next thing he knew, the ground shook and the voice of that god rang out over the city. The many have suffered long enough. Unfortunately, Galerius' account just sort of stops after that, leaving a lot of questions unanswered. What became of him and the other people who lived here? What happened to all the golden statues? And did this mysterious oracle single-handedly undo the curse that had terrorized people for hundreds of years?
That was me, that was.
What? Oh, I see. For a moment there I thought you were serious.
I am serious.
I think I found a way out through the aqueduct that brought water into the city. Follow me.
I'm actually serious, mate. It was me. I did it. I did it all. It was me.
I'm gonna pause here for a moment and make sure nobody else has ever lured into this temple. You go on ahead. I'll be there soon.
You're back! But you're alone. Does that mean you didn't find Al? Oh, what a relief. Thank you so much. I was beginning to think you'd both become trapped in there. Why don't you tell me what you discovered, while we wait?
Ah, I see. I thought you might. Well, now you know. I suppose you have questions.
Mm-hmm. Who are you, really?
You can just call me Charon, if you like. I am sorry I was not completely honest with you when we first met. I do not enjoy deceiving people. Believe me, I do not. But I have learned, from 5,000 years of experience, that most people find comfort in familiarity, in gradual change, and coming to see the truth in their own time.
What truth is that?
That you died, of course. You were dead when I brought you here.
What?
My role, as the servant of the god of the underworld, has always been to assist the chosen to cross the threshold from the land of the living to the land of the dead.
How did I die?
Usually, when people do not remember how they died, it is because they suffered a terrible trauma. Most souls would rather not remember. Ask yourself honestly, do you really want to know?
Yes. I do want to know.
As you wish. You were murdered. You were exploring an old tomb when you discovered a cache of forgotten relics, including 2 silver coins of ancient origin. Unfortunately, as you emerged into daylight,
the 2 remaining
you were set
coins
upon by 2 thieves. A nearby hiker saw the scuffle break out and leapt to your aid, trying to help you recover your bounty. You both fought bravely, but your assailants were armed, and you were not. There was nothing you or your ally could have done. He died instantly at the scene, and you followed a few hours later. That man's name was Al Worth. You were each in possession of a sacred coin, called Charon's Opal by some, and so it was my duty to bring you here.
Pluto said the coins Al and I had were the last in existence. What does that mean?
It means I am now bereft of purpose. There is nobody else to ferry here. Nobody to keep you company. After 5,000 years, the underworld has finally run its course. Perhaps you have heard the tales of the Greeks and Romans burying their dead with a coin in their mouths to pay the ferryman for passage across the river.
Yep.
Well, those stories contained a seed of truth, but not any coin would do. A long time ago, my master created 1,000 silver coins and had me distribute them across the world. My orders were simple. Whenever a person died in possession of a coin, I was to locate them and ferry them here. It means I am now bereft of purpose. There is nobody else to ferry here.
Okay.
I see no point in keeping you here. But I have to ask one thing. That you keep this to yourself.
Look! Here comes Al now. Al! It's so good to see you. You were gone so long I thought I'd never see you again.
Kinda lost track of time in there. You wouldn't believe what we found. The ruins of a long-forgotten city. And there was a tablet describing an oracle who confronted a god and undid an ancient curse.
Sounds like quite a story. And I look forward to hearing all about it. But you two look exhausted. Why don't you hop in my boat and rest while I ferry you back to civilization?
Sounds good to me.
And you? Are you ready to go home?
Yes. One year later. Oh my god.
Hey, you made it. It's great to see you again. I read your book, and what the critics said about it. I guess they weren't ready for your theories about the underworld. Anyway, after everything you've been through, I thought you might appreciate some good news. So after we got back to the real world, I started doing some research into the people mentioned in Galerius' tablet. And I found something strange. I'm sorry I've been so cryptic. I've been dying to tell you. I just really wanted you to see this for yourself. Why don't you head on down there? I'll catch up with you at the other end.
Oh, hello.
Oh my god!
You're finally here.
Galerius, oh my god! What the hell?
It's a crazy story. After you disappeared, Karen appeared and told us she was returning us to the world. Even gave us some coins to help us start our lives over. Only, for some reason, she returned us to your world instead of ours. Anyway, I know we only ever had that one conversation, and I wasn't even sure if you'd remember me, but I wanted to say thanks for freeing us from the underworld and giving us a second chance at life. Oh, I used Karen's gift to buy a farm in Umbria. Got a villa on it too, with enough room for Dooley, of course.
Oh
it's hard
my
work,
god!
but I sleep soundly every night. I'm finally my own man, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
Oh my word.
I know! I can't believe my luck either. But we're engaged and living together.
Oh my god!
We're planning to get married next spring. If you're gonna be around, we'd love to see you there. Of course, there's a whole museum full of people waiting for a chance to thank you, so you better keep moving. We'll speak again soon, my friend.
Oh my god. Equitia.
You're here. It's lovely to finally meet you. Galerius told me all about you. So, you're the hero who somehow vanquished the last of the Roman gods. As I'm a priestess, you realize you've put me out of work. I'm just teasing. Actually, and it still feels a little sacrilegious to say this, I'm finding life after religion quite enjoyable. Galerius and I are engaged and expecting. We've just bought a lovely villa in the countryside with room for a large family, and Dooley too, of course. It feels like the world has just opened up for us. There's so much to learn, and so many more possibilities for our children than we ever imagined. We're just so thankful for what you did for us, for all of us. Oh, it's sweet of you to ask. She recovered nicely. In fact, she's here somewhere, if you'd like to ask her yourself. See you at the wedding, I hope.
Oh my god.
Hello, I'm Dooley.
Hello, Dooley.
Galerius said you're very nice and a big helper. Thank you for getting us out of the bad place. I didn't know it. I live at Galerius and Equitia's house. They look after me now and help me remember when I forget things, like brushing my teeth. Treasure? Oh, I forgot about that. I like my box now. Galerius got me a box that tells stories. It's my favourite thing. Bye-bye.
Oh my god, that's incredible.
Hey.
Horatius.
Hi there, I'm Horatius. I understand we have you to thank for giving us a second chance at life, and reuniting Scintilla with us as well. So, thank you. I'm living up north and studying in the military academy in Modena. I'm going to be an officer one day. The world's changed a lot, but some things stay the same. Would you believe we're still studying military tactics from my time? Alexander the Great, Caesar, Hannibal Barca. Still, I have to keep challenging myself to let go of old ways of thinking and embrace the new. As Seneca wrote, the ones who pioneered our paths aren't our masters, but our guides. Ah, you remembered that. Thank you. I grieved for a time, but that's done. In the words of Epictetus, as those who rode behind triumphant generals remind them they are mortal, remind yourself your precious one isn't one of your possessions, but something given for now, not forever. Thanks. Oh, and I don't know if you've heard, but a few of us are going for drinks later. It'd be nice to chat with you some more. Great. He's not my... Oh, I see what you did there. Good one. He had more trouble adapting than most. He got himself disqualified from the UFC, so he started some kind of underground blood sport tournament, like we had in Rome.
Oh, CVR Raptor, long time no see. How are you?
They say he made some good coin, killing a bunch of men like that. But his luck finally ran out, and his life along with it. You know what they say. Live by the sword, die by the sword. You're not wrong. See you at drinks later, I hope.
I take it you're the Oracle. Thanks for coming. Actually, I changed my name to Cynthia. I didn't want to be associated with Sentius after what happened. I'm not sure if you heard, but after you drove Pluto off, Proserpina emerged from the Great Temple. She knew right away what none of us had figured out about that psychopath. He'd been keeping my little sister locked up in the upper cistern all that time. But he's been dealt with. He's... you know what? The important thing is, we'll never see him again.
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Not too bad. I think we've just reached the true ending of this game. Anyway, I don't know whether you've watched the previous episodes, but it's called The Forgotten City. Very, very enjoyable game, actually.
Anything I want. I'm a woman of means in a vast new world. I can go wherever and do whatever I please. Of course, I mostly just stay in my villa and have my servant Alexa summon things for me, because it's just awful out there. Barbarians everywhere. He's still there, all alone, the last golden statue in the underworld. Trapped in a metal shell, slowly losing his mind until the end of time. Eternal torment. Just what he deserves, if you ask me. Then I suppose he got his wish. You too. See you around.
Okay. Who is this? Julia and Lucretia.
You're the Oracle, right? Oh, of course, sorry. And I never got a chance to thank you for telling Galerius how to save my life. And of course, getting me, and all of us, out of a terrible situation. Oh, I barely recognize myself. I'm living in a house share in London with my wonderful girlfriend. And I'm studying English at university. Eventually I want to travel the world and write about it. Turns out, it's about 30 times bigger than the Roman Empire ever was. Did you know there are entire continents Rome never knew existed? And you can travel almost anywhere in an aircraft, which is rather like flying on a Pegasus, but much more comfortable. Oh, sorry, you already know all that, of course. I'm just so excited. There's so much to see and learn and write about. I have noticed people from your time have no idea how fortunate they are. I hope to change that. One day. Last I heard, Malleolus kept insisting he was the last rightful ruler of the Roman Empire, and wound up being committed to a psychiatric hospital. As for Claudia, she was always so viciously unhappy. Someone said she'd blown all her money on wine, trying to drink herself back to the underworld. After the horrific way they treated Ulpius and me, I can't help feeling a sense of... what's that German word? Schadenfreude? Thank you. You're very kind. Ugh,
Someone told me she was boasting about getting her claws into some rich prince, and how she was going to be living the high life from now on. Even in your time, life still isn't fair. Apparently he'd proposed before they'd even met. And last I heard, she'd bought herself a first-class one-way ticket to join him in some exotic place called... what was it? Nigeria? Some people have all the luck. Well, you are the Oracle, so I suppose I'll take your word for it. Huh. I feel better already. Thank you.
Nigerian prince.
You too. If you're ever
Oh
in
my
London,
God,
let me know.
yeah, that's scam.
We can go to bars and drink wine and listen to the stories of the 9 million people who live there. I hope so.
Lucretia?
You are here. It's nice to finally meet you. Lucy is fine. I'm making an effort to blend in, as you can see. We are all trying to keep a low profile. If the world knew we died 2,000 years ago and were suddenly brought back to life 12 months ago, they'd never leave us alone. Speaking of which, I wanted to say thank you in person. I'd say the gods smile on you, but I hear you drove the last of them off. So... I'm studying to get into medical school. As much as I resented the responsibility of keeping everyone in the city alive, when it ended, I realized I missed it. So I guess I'll just keep saving the world, if begrudgingly, one patient at a time. You too, don't be a stranger.
Okay. Georgius.
Greetings. You must be the legendary Oracle. It is a sincere privilege to finally make your acquaintance. I am Georgius. I am told we have you to thank for freeing us from Hades, and for that I am most grateful. I am reacquainting myself with Greece. It has changed so much over the last 2,000 years, I barely recognize it. This is at once heartbreaking and thrilling. Perhaps one day, once I have seen all of this new Greece and sampled her delights, I will settle down in Santorini in a villa overlooking the Azure-Aegean Sea. I hope you will join me there and regale me with the story of how you faced off against the fearsome god of the underworld and won.
Absolutely.
You too, my friend.
You're the one we've been waiting for. I'm Fabia. I wanted to say thanks for sending Galerius to save my life. I don't know how you knew, but I would have been crushed by that shrine for sure. I'm just so happy to be here with you and everyone together again, even if it's just for one more night. Well, it's not like I have to work with all the silver Charon gave me, so I just do what makes me happy. Mostly that means baking for my friends and looking at memes while binging TV shows in yoga pants. What a time to be alive. Thank you. I really am. You too.
The Hermit Philosopher. We're going to find out his actual name now.
I take it you're the Oracle everybody's talking about. It's a pleasure to finally meet you. We have... I'm sorry, I don't remember. In any case, I'm Philip. I never thought I'd leave that cave, let alone the city. And now I'm living in the 21st century. What a time to be alive. And it seems I have your catabasis to thank for it. I'm working as a consultant to the Faculty of Classics at Cambridge University, helping fill the odd gap in their knowledge. Not that I need the money, but I do love being around enlightened minds again.
Sweet.
My sincere thanks once again.
Some soiree, innit?
Oh, might I know that would be Decius later. Please keep off the furniture. Yeah.
Ah, hello at last. You must be the oracle I've heard so much about. I'm Daisius.
Oh, Daisius. Hello,
Listen,
Daisius.
I wanted to express my sincere appreciation for what you did. If it wasn't for you, I'd never been able to sell all those useless old relics I accumulated. Whatever you did in that temple made me a very wealthy man. Thank you. Most gracious of you. I took the money I made from selling my trinkets and started investing in the stock market. That's where the real money is now. In fact, I was hoping to ask your advice, you being the oracle and future seer and all that, on which stocks I should invest in next. I can't decide between fossil fuels, tobacco, gambling and arms. What would you recommend? Oh, don't be like that. You can tell your old pal Dacius. I won't take no for an answer.
Oh my god.
Oh, of course, yeah. I was just thinking the same thing. I'll go home and buy up as much stock as I can tonight. I'm going to make a bloody fortune.
I'll be going now.
Of course, don't let me keep you. Thanks again for the tips, my friend.
Good evening.
And Lydia.
Oh, hello. It's lovely to meet you. I've heard so much about you. I'm thankful that you're here. I was sure the person who drove off the last pagan god would have more important things to do than visit the likes of us. But thank you for coming and for saving our lives. What you did was extraordinary, and I'll never forget it. I'm living in Rome again, in a charming little flat by the Tiber. Not far from my old place. Oh, and I'm training to be a crisis counsellor. After you sent Galerius to persuade Ulpius not to take his own life, I was inspired. I just want to spend the rest of my life helping people, like you helped him. Thank you. That means a lot. And you.
Greetings. Thank you for your kind words and for liberating us all. In all the time I was in the underworld, I never once imagined that I might end up in a place so much like Elysium. I'm recovering. Octavia was kind enough to let me stay with her for a while, at least until I'm well enough to be independent again.
Was any good poems like that?
Ah, you remember that. I'm a little tired of Ovid, but that's all right. I have 2,000 years worth of poetry to catch up on now. I'm already up to the 19th century, and am quite enjoying the work of a fellow named Poe. I think I may have found a kindred spirit. Men have called me mad, but the question is not yet settled whether madness is or is not the loftiest intelligence. And you, farewell, friend.
Oh, there's oh my god. Ah, there he is.
It is an honor to finally meet you, Oracle. You know my name. Oh, of course. You are an oracle. You know many things. I too would like to offer my thanks for releasing us from that place, and for your role in bringing us here. This world is truly wondrous. For a time, I returned to Alexandria, but they have no need of another fisherman, and I came to see there is nothing for me there. Instead, I have decided to follow the custom of your youths and backpack the world. It is a great adventure, and I have met many people from many cultures. I spent the first 25 years of my life avoiding the 42 sins that would deny me access to the afterlife. Now, I think it is time I had some fun.
Absolutely.
Indeed. Thank you, Oracle.
We meet again. Oh, I go by Gabriella now.
I didn't want to be reminded of that monster every time I heard my own name. And I wanted to say thanks, and no hard feelings, for leaving me in that cistern when you did. I know it must have been a difficult decision, but it was the right one. I'm living with Ulpius on a little vineyard in Umbria. It's even more wonderful than I dreamed it would be. I'm so grateful to you for making sure he's still with us. If you're ever passing through the region, I hope you'll come and visit us. You can try some of our very own wine.
Absolutely.
Thanks. You too.
It's nice to finally put a face to the name. I'm Ulpius.
Shalom.
I understand I have you to thank for sending Galerius to save my life. The way you just showed up out of the blue and stopped me from making a terrible mistake. I'll be forever in your debt. I'm living with Gabriella in Umbria. We finally bought the little vineyard we always dreamed of. It'll be a little while before we know what we're doing, but every day I look at her and this extraordinary new world with all its beauty, and I think, what if I'd given up hope? And missed out on all of this. So we're living each day to the fullest. And we end them all the same way. Sitting together on our terrace with a glass of our wine, which the locals say is almost drinkable now. And watching the sunset over the rolling hillside. And I couldn't be happier.
Sweet.
Thank you. I wouldn't be here without you. You too.
So I've got to speak to Rufius and
Nice to meet you. I go by Rufus now. New start, new name. Oh, and thanks, by the way, for what you did. Sorry, I'm no good with the mushy stuff. I live with Virgil in Rotterdam, not far from where he grew up. It's very modern. Destroyed in the war, and it rebuilt itself. Good place for a fresh start. Haven't decided what I'm going to do with my life yet. One adjustment at a time.
sounds reasonable.
Huh. Good to know. Anyway, it was good practice for the new world. Security cameras and smartphones everywhere. Got to stay vigilant.
Absolutely.
You too. Look us up next time you're in the Netherlands. We're grateful.
It's so nice to finally meet you. I've heard so much about you. I wanted to thank you personally for getting us out of there. And for helping Rufus come to terms with himself. He may come off a little gruff, but once you get past that, he's a lovely fellow. I'm studying to be an architect again, and living with Rufus in our beautiful flat in Rotterdam. Just down the river from Nijmegen, where I grew up. Of course, it's improved immensely since I was there last. Gleaming futuristic buildings and clean streets, full of educated, accepting people. You natives of the 21st century have no idea how fortunate you are. You too, as Rufus said in his own laconic way. If you're ever in the Netherlands, we'd love to show you around. It's the least we could do.
There you are. I hope you enjoyed that. Now, there's one more person I wanted to introduce you to. I think you know her.
Sorry if I frightened you. Just a little joke I've been saving for a long, long time. Allow me to introduce myself properly. I am Proserpine, former goddess of the cycle of life and renewal, and now a regular mortal. I wanted to meet you in person, and thank you for freeing all these people, and me. I hate to think what would have happened to us without your intervention. Indeed. Suffice it to say that while Pluto was controlling the eyes and ears of each golden statue, I was able to control their tongues and whisper to you when he was distracted. I am sorry my messages were so cryptic. There were only ever brief windows in which I could speak to you without being detected. I did. I may have given up my immortality, but I still retain my gifts as the goddess of the cycle of life and renewal. After witnessing Pluto punish countless poor souls over thousands of years, I knew this generation, the final wave, would not survive. So I tried to give them a way to buy more time. A second chance. Rather, as many second chances as they needed to avoid his wrath. So I whispered to Sentius in secret, telling him the prayer required to create a portal in my shrine. I knew the danger of humans being corrupted by godly power, and so I put a safeguard in place. I required the creator of the portal to sacrifice their own life, so that it could only be used selflessly to help others. What I did not anticipate is that Sentius would retain his accumulated memories from each previous day, and as a veteran soldier he had long since shed his fear of death. He quickly discovered that he could, in effect, prolong his own life indefinitely by exploiting the cycle. Of course, once I had taught him the prayer, I could not unteach him, and there was little I could do but wait for someone like you to come along and see him for what he was. We were all fortunate you came along when you did. I don't know what happened to him. I haven't heard from him, and I rather hope it stays that way. Oh, she inherited dominion over the underworld. Last time we spoke, she was working on a new world of some kind. She wouldn't say what it was, but I'd be surprised if you don't run into her again. I imagine we all will, one day.
Interesting.
And you, although it feels like I've known you forever. Oh, and one last thing. Do you remember all those golden statues scattered throughout the city?
Yep.
Good, because they remember you. Well done, my friend. Of all the heroes who ever journeyed to the underworld and returned, none came close to achieving what you did. Hercules, Orpheus, Theseus, and Aeneas would be proud.
Oh my god. I'm really emotional now. I got the true ending. Oh my god. I completed it. I got to the true ending. Oh my word. Wow. That was quite emotional. Very, very enjoyable. CVR Raptor, I don't know how much of this you've actually followed, if any of it. But I tell you what, I really recommend this. If you're into adventure mystery games with a historical twist, then if you have Xbox Game Pass, you can get it on there if you subscribe to that. Or it's also available on Steam as well. Not because I say you're on PC, aren't you? So yeah, Xbox Game Pass also works for PC. So I definitely recommend it. It's just wow, I enjoyed that so much. I really did. The way everything unravelled, all the twists and turns. You have a 3-month Game Pass. Oh, do you, for Xbox? If you're interested, it's on there. It's called The Forgotten City. I tell you what, if this is your sort, if history, mystery, and adventure is your sort of thing, then it's still on Xbox Game Pass for PC as well. Or if you've got Xbox as well, you could play it on there as well. But yeah, definitely 10 out of 10 would recommend. Just everything about it. I mean, I love the whole concept of open world and interactivity as well, and knowing that your decisions can influence the outcome. I'm very much always been a fan of those sort of games. So yeah, definitely do check it out. So, the Forgotten City has finally been freed from tyranny. And that means that's the end of that series. So, okay, just want to wish everybody a lovely evening. Thank you once again for joining me. Just to let you know that my Guide Dogs for the Blind campaign is running till the 30th of November. So if you haven't made a donation yet and would like to, then please do visit the link below at the bottom of the screen there. As you can see, I'm up to £231 out of my £250 goal. And yeah, it's been a really exciting journey. So thank you once again for everyone for joining me, and I will see you in the next stream. But for now, see you later!